It's the eve of Christmas, and this is Business Morning. Thank you for joining us. I'm Chimeze Obi Iwagu. 2020 has been a tumultuous year for everyone, but as the year gradually draws to a close, many businesses are repositioning to the new normal going into 2021. And one sector set to be a panacea to Nigeria's tottering economy is the ICT. I have a woman in ICT who has been on a journey to equip other women and organizations with the necessary digital skills to achieve competitive global edge. Mercy George Ibafe, the founder and CEO of Lentor, is here with me to share how this year has treated her as a woman in tech business and what 2021 presents for her and her mentees. Good morning, Mercy. Good to have you.
Thank you, Chimeze, and thank you, Channels Television, for having me. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you. And Merry Christmas to Channels viewers.
Same to you. Now, 2020 presented a world divided by hope and fear. Now, we saw the emergence of COVID-19. How was it for you, doing your digital business or ICT?
Yes. For me, I would say 2020 has been a blessing. I'm one of those people that would say that this year has been a huge blessing because I've gotten to expose myself and pivoted my business in ways that I cannot even begin to comprehend, i.e., as an agilist and a heavily data driven individual, I've seen how COVID has actually disrupted a lot of businesses, made people, according to BBC, 1.3 million jobs are gone in the UK, and The Guardian, 4 million jobs gone in the US. And we know the unemployment gap in Nigeria is 6.3. So, but right now we don't even know the data of how many jobs that are lost in Nigeria. A lot of banks, no thanks to COVID now, have rescinded a lot of their back offices. So a lot of works are now skeletal because everybody has digitally transformed their processes. So for me, 2020 has been a huge blessing. It has helped me to pivot the business in ways that I cannot. And I would say that even in the process of doing that, it wasn't about the cash cow for me making money. I've trained over 2,000 people. 75% of those are women in digital marketing skills, and now finally pivoted in May into agile digital transformation, and which has brought an array of open opportunities for Lentor, partnering up with Scrum.org. And
now, when you talk about agile, before I get in there, you're talking about how, well, even though a lot of businesses have suffered, for you, who is in ICT, and a lot of other ICT practitioners seem to have capitalized on this opportunity to actually grow. Now, in Nigeria, we know that women are dramatically underrepresented in the ICT field. Women are also more strongly, represented in lower level of ICT. So I'm just wondering how you were able to,
I think it's best that I share my story because my story connects more with people. I'm 3 years short of 50 years old, right? And it's not as if I have 20 years or 25 years of experience, because a lot of people would think, oh, I need to have this experience, get this degree. As you know, Nigeria, we're heavy on certification. I have to be MBA, I have to be MSc, I have to be BSc.
I mean, you were a banker.
Yes, I was a banker and I worked with Channels as well. So in my journey of dabbling, just learning this and learning that, all of those experiences formed. I had a midlife crisis, 2017. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. And all of a sudden, going to the UK, I was exposed to this agile opportunities, because the opportunities that come with this space, not just digital marketing, which everybody's running in that direction, but agile. An average salary for a Scrum Master is $135,000 US per annum. So, and people are here in Nigeria, some people that are exposed are beginning to get those opportunities. So for me, it's not so much of having that long term, and even doing what I'm doing with Lentor right now, training women, opening up opportunities, because I've told you I've trained 2,000 people for free, majority of them for free. The only time that I've made money, and it's still for free, because the entry for you to take this certification in the Agile Scrum or Scrum Master is 2,000, 1,005. It depends on who the trainer is. But because of the collaboration with Lentor and this international organization that are the most sought after certification, it has made the entry easier. Guess what? Many women are not applying. I will get data.
Why? Why, really?
Now, this is where the beauty is. I mean, having to do this COVID and generating a lot of data. So what I've seen that women connect more with is digital marketing. Why? Because we are hustlers. We want to sell. We are good at buying and selling. I sell okrika today. I sell shoe tomorrow. It is wig now that is in vogue.
Like when you go on Instagram, you see a lot of businesses.
A lot of people want to learn digital marketing skill to be able to sell their product. But those are survival skills. It's not what will give you global competitive edge. Like the reason that a lot of jobs in the US are going to India, going to Asia, is simply because they have learned the right skills, and which is data analytics, GDPR, Agile Scrum, project management, product owner, business analysis. And that is what Lentor offered the first cohort, which was such a huge success. Even Scrum.org was shocked at the results that we recorded from our current students. It's unprecedented. And 80% of them are volunteering for organization in the UK as I speak with you because of the opportunity that Agile Space presents to us. This survival mode of, I have to win, I have to sell. You can't sustain it, and that's why we don't have successive generational wealth in Africa. We keep building, we start, we don't finish, we start, we don't finish. But in the Agile, it says start to finish. Everything you start, you must finish, because there's a process, there's a structure.
When you, can I understand this Agile system? You call yourself agility.
Agile. So what is Agile? Is a mindset. So a group of 17 people 20 years ago came about and said, come, there are better ways of working. Let's uncover it and be able to. So they now came up with a set of rules, values that galvanizes. And under Agile, there are 27 framework that is embedded on Agile. Say Scrum, Safe, and Kanban. And they are the most popularly used globally. But the interesting thing is we don't have the skill set in Africa. We are the most brilliant. We are the most agilist because we know what it means to adapt. Being an agilist means you adapt to change very quickly. It means that I want to have this show, morning, sunrise. There's segments. You have put them. We have to do this first, then we go to the next. And you deliver them iteratively, incrementally. And that is how you ship out product. Amazon, Facebook, Uber, Google, then keep doing this and developing product incrementally and shipping it to the market for people to have access to it. But it's not just going online, which is where the disconnect is. We're very big on certification, right? It's not just going online and say, let me go and take the certification, because on scrum.org, you can go online and take the certification, $150, sit it, but many people fail it at most of their first attempt. So that's why they need a trainer to come and train them. So this is where the disconnect is with Africans. And for me, I think we can change the trajectory. Lentor has started doing that, but it's not enough. It's not enough.
So having worked in this sector, what digital skill gaps have you observed, and what are the opportunities, not just for women, but for youth? We're talking about job creation here. You did mention the unemployment rate, and I mean, with COVID-19 presenting the new normal.
Yes.
I mean, perhaps these days you just have to be on the internet. Yes,
and the irony is social media statistic that came out in August says Nigeria is #1 in terms of social media usage. It's not as if we're not. Mary Lanier, my friend, will say that if you buy 1,000 Naira data and you have not learnt anything using that data, he said you have gone to school, and no, you have paid tuition, but are not attending classes, so you have just wasted money. So Nigeria, we are consumers. What are the opportunities that are in this space? #1, I've told you the average salary, yeah? I've told you Lentor cohort 1 that just finally graduated, 80% of them are getting hands-on experience, which we don't have because many organizations are not operating the Agile way. because of the patriarchal structure of Africa and the hierarchical structure. So we command, we control. But what Agile does, it creates a flat line for organization so that there's a good feedback loop that keeps going in. This is what we need to improve. This is what we need to adapt. This is what we need to change. So what are the opportunities? Number one, our students need to learn right. I'll give you a case in point. 2 of my children, 12 years and 14, they are certified as Agile Scrum Masters because they participated in my training. Because that's the future. I'm not going to produce, we know that we have so many unemployment right now. I mean, high rate of unemployment because we have graduates that are unemployable. They can't even write letter. When you had me on this show, I told you, on Google Insight in 2020, they are learning how to write a formal letter. That is a problem because our education system has failed. I don't want to be against the government, but I just feel they don't know what to do. And they keep bringing expatriates into the country with a solution mindset to a culturally diverse problem. We have, number one, a mindset issue. It's not because there's no internet. People are on the internet, but what are you doing on the internet is key. If you want to become a GDPR consultant, GDPR is a big deal now. It came up 2018 and it went into law. An average salary for a GDPR analyst, if you understand data, data privacy protection, which I had a DPO on my facilitator, all of my, I'm not the one training them. I had to seek out the best of the best to train these people because I don't want to be jack of all trade, mastering none. My data analyst, Deji Folari, is a Microsoft most valuable professional. There are not many in Africa. So you can see the gap. And Africans, we are not learning the right skill. So this gives me a serious concern. And I know that in a population of 200 million Nigeria, there's so much that needs to be done. It's not just buying and selling. That is not the way. Look at how many businesses, if I ask you, name some businesses in the 80s, how many of them are alive today? We had Michelin, we had Dunlop, we had Bata, we had all these companies. But they are dead. No structure, no processes, no people with the right skill to help take this business from this generation to the next. But we know Toyota, we know Google, we know McDonald's, we know KFC. What did they do right that we can't do? Uber doesn't own one single car on the street, but they control the car industry. They drove all the other taxi businesses out of the way. Airbnb does not have one single building, but they are the one controlling because of digital transformation.
Mercy, you did mention the education system, and then with this agile system you were talking about, is there a way we can actually restructure our curriculum, our educational curriculum, to ensure that when we are teaching our children, particularly ICT, since we're saying that, look, this is the future, this is the way to go, even not just here in the developed economies.
Yes.
I mean, ICT is what it is. So how do we begin to restructure and change our curriculum to ensure that our youth, not just but the women and the boys, yes.
So now, number one, I'll take a story, but I'll just quickly say this. From what I gathered, in China, they start training their children ICT skill from age 4. That's why they're whiz. There's a boy, he's called 10-year-old, Ryan. He's on YouTube. He made $28 million in 2018. 26 million US in 2019. He's 10 because the mother has seen a cash cow leveraging YouTube. Now, in COVID, because I saw there's a pain point, because what drives Lentor is to move people forward digitally and to bridge the skill gap. So what did I do? I created this training. After the show, I went online, created a training for 6 to 18. I've seen it, it works. I remember one CNN person saying that, how were you able to get the children to learn 2 hours? Parents, the videos are on my YouTube channel. They can go there, Lento. We're shocked at the way these children, a 9-year-old created animated cartoon, which she learned within 2 weeks. A 9-year-old was able to create games. And you know what? She now built a website. It might not be perfect, but that girl has learned a valuable skill that she will never learn within the 4 walls of Nigerian institution. So that is what we need to start doing. Let's stop focusing on bringing oh, yes, the West. They are privileged. For me, as a startup, EFCC came up with this school thing that we need to get it done and all that. Do you know that for me to get that school, I need to pay 35,000 naira for me to get it into somebody's pocket? I've applied 7 times, it didn't come through. The West has an enabling environment. Nigerians, we don't. Our education system is a failure because until we start to introduce, and I'm not talking about scratch, just doing scratch in school and say you are doing ICT. That is not ICT. You need to expose these children to the agile way of working so that when they're out of job, they can get international jobs. There are companies coming from the US to Nigeria. They are looking for agilists. They can't find. They will now need to ship expatriate from India, from China, from any other country because they have the skills. Until we Nigerians start to learn the right skills, getting exposed in design thinking, which is one of the courses we are going to be offering in cohort 2. Design thinking, business analysis, agile scrum, and getting an international certification that ordinarily costs $1,005 to $2,000. But because of the entry and the pain point that this organization have seen that Lento does, they've partnered up with me, Kanban University and Scrum.org. This is an opportunity, and I'm grateful for Channels for having us on this program, for us to be able to shed the light. Yeah.
Now, going into 2021, what do you hope for?
Going into 2021,
and particularly, encouraging women to upskill
yes.
in, digital.
Women, please stop starting. If you fail this business, you tell your husband, give me 1 million, they give you. Stop starting. Learn the right skills so that you can build a business that your children can come and run tomorrow. So that you can build a business like Toyota. My vision for 2021 is to train at least 10,000 agilists for them to leverage the opportunities that abound. Google has not opened their office since COVID. People are working from home. But they will not hire you because you are going to do Google digital marketing course.
Where can the government, come in here to really support, particularly this has to do with the youths and, the women?
Thank you for that question because it's valuable. Like I told you, I'm just a small fry in the equation of 200 million Nigerians. So I'm calling on sponsors. Sponsor your employees. Sponsor your staff. There's a bank now that is about to sponsor 10 students that is in conversation with me. They are going to sponsor 10 students for the next class. Get your people signed up. If you have to pay directly to this organization, you'll be paying almost 2,000. But this is what Lento wants to do. 2020, if we can reach that mark of 10,000 agilists, it will be a win because that's dollars being paid to Nigerians in Nigeria without leaving the shores of this country. I'm being paid that, and I'm not left the shores of this country. So if I can, you can, anybody can, and that's the vision for me.
How will that help to shore up our reserve that is dwindling, talking about the dollar?
If we start earning the right amount of money, take for instance in China, I mean, every money that goes there is shipped back into Africa. They use it to produce products and send it to Africa to make money. Say, for instance, I start earning money in dollars. Would I not set up a business and do some side hustle and start investing? Am I not going to employ people? So that is, it's an entire value chain of opportunity that Agile presents itself. But we need, first and foremost, to rethink our mind, learn the right skill. Do you know how much you have spent on MBA certification, MSc? If you spend a fraction of that to learn about Agile, you will change the game forever.
Well, let's just hope that we get it right. Going into 2021, Mercy, thank you very much. And, well, I would have said Merry Christmas, but may I seek your permission? Could you please wait?
I'll wait.
Yeah, because I would have to bring you back on the set. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Commodities market update is next. And see who we've got there for Commodities Market Update today. The CEO himself, Bismarck Rwani. Good morning, Mr. Rwani. It's an honor to have you on this segment this Christmas Eve. It feels like Santa Claus will visit Business Morning today, but while, we have the eve of, every reason to cheer, at least for life, it seems there is no reason to cheer with this decision by the federal government to shut down the Third Mainland Bridge and Lagos-Ibadan Expressway for repairs. Good reason, but wrong timing. Am I correct?
Yes, good morning, Chimeze, and to the viewers. Merry Christmas. This is Santa Claus wearing a face mask and Christmas trees with sanitizers on them. That's what you have in 2020. But having said that, the closure of the bridge at this time and the closure of the highway at this time is based on the premise that traffic is going to be low at this time, and this is the only time you can do it. We could have done it earlier. We could have done it during the early part of the lockdown, but like they say, better late than never. So let's get ready for some real difficulty. So the best thing to do is to stay at home, wear your mask, and then just wait for 2021.
Absolutely. So how do you see this playing out in the domestic commodities market space?
Let me first start with what is great news. I think this morning, Britain and the EU are announcing a deal.
Yes.
That's fantastic news. So basically, for us in Nigeria, we'll have access to the Commonwealth market through the UK. We'll also have access to our second largest trading partner, which is the European Union, the 27 countries. That's good. Also, interestingly, the price of oil has gone above $51 compared to the average of about $49 in the last 3 weeks. So we are in a good place. But domestic commodities, what is more interesting is that the Central Bank of Nigeria, in the last couple of days, has released a lot of money. In other words, they have disbursed dollars into the market. The naira has appreciated. The reserves have increased a little bit thanks to the price of oil. So there's some kind of convergence. But guess what? The central bank is selling dollars in the 150-day forwards at 405, and in the spot market at about 395 naira to a dollar in the I&E window. So we are having more volume. It means that more naira will be taken out of the system, but the fact that production and output will increase means that we might begin to see some tapering of inflation. Inflation expectations are that we'll get up to about 15 or 16% before it starts to level out sometime later in the year. So I think those are some of the key issues. But as far as we are concerned, we've seen an increase in LNG output from Gabon. LNG prices are down by about 2%, and LNG constitutes about 14% of our total exports. It's very important to us. LNG, in terms of export magnitude, there's oil, there's LNG, there's cocoa, there's sesame seed, and there's cashew, and so on. But we depend to a large extent on crude oil and LNG. Crude oil prices are up 51 plus, and LNG price is also down marginally. So Nigeria is in a good place in terms of export earnings and in terms of our dollar. Yes.
Now, talking about the crude oil market, yes, you did mention the development in Britain this morning with the Brexit trade deal and, of course, the price of Brent. So what's the outlook for that market, particularly looking at OPEC's production cut consideration?
Yes, the reality is that Nigeria is more production sensitive than price sensitive in terms of its oil revenues. We think the benchmark is at 40. The projections are that price of oil will settle between 45 and 50, sometime average for the year. At that point, we have only $5 headroom, which is about 20% of the $40. Having said that, our needs and our requirements this year quite significant in terms of our infrastructure funding. We have, on 4th of January, we have a maturity of a Eurobond of about 500 million euros, which is about $600 million. So we'll have to pay out $600 million. Hopefully, the World Bank disbursement will come in to more or less mitigate the impact on reserves. But having said that, we have a backlog dollars to pay to the foreign portfolio investors, which the central bank is beginning to gradually meet. But if you back out the backlog, if you back out the fact that we need to sell about $3 to $4 billion to get output down and bring inflation under control, the reserves will still be somewhere in the neighborhood of about $29 or $30 billion, which is not bad at all. Our external imbalances have actually begun to reduce. We had the worst in 2020, and in 2021, I think that begins to look a bit better. So typically what happens is that your external position, especially for Nigeria, determines your fiscal position. Your fiscal position then determines your growth and output. All of this being said, Nigeria still has significant problems of debt, poverty, inflation, and growth. And we'll have to address that. But this is a program on commodities, and therefore I'd like to focus on what's happening to prices of domestic commodities. As we speak, the price of a bag of flour is 14,500 naira a bag. By this time last year, it was 8,500. So technically speaking, the loaf of bread you're eating today is at least 60 or 70% more expensive, or 60 or 70% smaller in size, even if you're paying the same price. That's
all right. Yes, Mr. Rwane, let me take you from there, talking about that flour, a bag of flour, increase in price. What's the reason for that?
Two things. One, the price of wheat, as you can see, is much higher. Two, the exchange rate, the average exchange rate at which the wheat millers are getting their money blended is about 465. So basically, what has happened in the last 2 months is that they've increased the price of flour by about $3, about 1,500 naira. So that is what is happening. And you use flour for so many things. You use it for cakes, for bread, part of it for Indomie noodles, and some other products. So there is a shift. Basically, what has happened is that people now, because the bread is becoming more expensive, and you have to understand that you don't eat bread alone. If you have bread, you have to have margarine, you have to have stew, you have to have tea, you have to have chocolate drink and all. So bread has what we call complementary demand components, where you cannot eat it alone. So what are people doing? People are shifting and substituting. One, because of income. Two, because of substitution. They're going to yams, cocoa yam, sweet potatoes, and garri and akara and all of that. But beans have stayed flat at about 17,000 naira a bag. The other components have become slightly more expensive. Onions has gone up to 80,000, down back to 75,000 right now. And this is the Christmas season. So what are we seeing here? We are seeing seasonality, but we're also seeing the cost of moving of these goods. Because of the increase in the price of petrol, this is being baked in. Also, because of the disruption, because of banditry, herdsmen, Boko Haram, people are not going to the farms, and even if they go to the farms, they are not able to move to the market. So there's a risk premium and there's a logistics cost being built into prices. And this is having an effect. And if you have inflation at 14.8 or 14.9%, and food inflation in particular at 18.3%, and you have interest rates at 1%, and you know that interest on your deposits across the country are much lower. You can imagine that you're earning only 2% or 1% on your deposit, and you are confronted with a price increase of 15, 16%. So what it does is it reduces the marginal propensity to save and makes you want to engage in capital flight. And that's where the problem is.
Now, in all of these that you have said, where does it leave your inflation forecast?
Well, like I said, we think that inflation in December is most likely, almost certainly, going to be above 15%. And that's not a good average for Africa, just for perspective. The average for Africa is 8.2%. We are one of the top 5 countries in terms of high inflation rate. So when you have inflation at 15% and you have growth, negative growth of minus 3.6% and going to a minus 4.7 in Q4, that is a classic stagflation situation. Stagflation is a unique phenomenon. It doesn't happen usually because in trying to deal with the therapy for one is a problem for the other. So you got to sequence it. And so the first thing you want to do is to bring inflation under control. The way to bring inflation under control here is to increase output. How do you increase output? The central bank will have to put more foreign exchange in the hands of manufacturers to increase output. And also, we have to do something about the interest rate environment. The interest rate environment now is a recipe for financial chaos.
Okay, let's look at another commodity that you have there on your slide. We've seen Tanzania's coffee up 35.9%, and your slide says Nigeria remains indifferent. How much coffee does Nigeria really produce, and can we do better, particularly as we aim at shoring up our external reserves?
I think we are not going to be competitive in terms of producing coffee. We can't do that, but I think we are better off putting those resources in cocoa and cashew and all of that. But the thing is that Nigeria, as a consumer of coffee, there are a lot of Nigerians who drink coffee. It has its cardiovascular. There are a lot of cardiovascular problems and all that. Coffee, they use it to stay awake at night so that they can read. They use it for all sorts of things. So we are not the French-speaking countries consume more coffee than us, but there are some Nigerians who are coffee addicts already, and so for those people who are coffee addicts, they are facing a higher price, and also that's why I said we are indifferent. If I had my way, people will not drink coffee because it's just not.
You don't have to have your way, because someone like me will have to drink coffee, Mr. Ruwani. Anyway, the year is gradually winding down. How would you say the commodities market space has fared this year, both globally and locally, and what is the outlook for 2021?
Yes, I do know that commodities, it was a roller coaster. We saw the price of oil drop all the way to negative. We saw the price of copper go all the way down and put Zambia almost in bankruptcy. But now copper is up to a 14-year high. We are beginning to see, basically, the vaccine, the inoculation process. I think that by March this year, today, over 5 million people in the world have taken the vaccination. In the United States, over 1 million. That's 3% of the population. And we have not even started. So I think that by March, at least in Nigeria, we'll have about 1-2 million people who will have taken the vaccination. And then we'll begin to have a gradual restoration to normalcy. And that will have something to do with an improvement in commodity prices. But having said that, I want us to bear in mind that some of the gains and some of the efficiencies that have accrued to the world and which have happened, we're not going to go back to those inefficient ways. So the economies of scale, the integration of the region, and the ratification and implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Agreement means that what you are going to be seeing in 2021 is not Nigeria for Nigeria. It is going to be Nigeria in the context of the African region. We've signed the ECOWAS protocols. We are complying with the WTO agreements. We are not going to have tariffs. There's going to be minimum prohibition and restriction of. So what we are going to be seeing is a competitive environment where our currency will be almost convertible. There'll be free movement of people and goods across. We've opened the borders already. And so when that happens, the Robinson Crusoe economy mentality of Nigerian policymakers will change to a much more open world, a multilateral world, a world in which Biden will be president, and the isolationist policies of the past will be fading away. Having said that, we know that China's economy will be at least 70% of the value of the US economy. And our trade with China will increase. Our trade with India is significantly, that's our biggest trading partner. So I think, and then the diversification of our portfolio in terms of soya beans, cashew nuts, sesame, yam, cassava, all of these things, both for domestic and regional consumption, will drive the process and change the narrative completely. So you are going to see a Nigeria which is more competitive, a Nigeria which is more open, and you're going to see a Nigeria that has to compete, adapt or perish. That would be the mantra.
We just have to adapt and not perish. Mr. Bismarck Ruwani, CEO of Financial Derivatives Company, may I use this opportunity to thank you and your team for all your support. I wish you and your family and every member of your team a Merry Christmas. Be well and stay safe.
Thank you.
We'll be back in a moment. Eddie, how much gifts have we got from Santa in the equities market?
Jimmy, now I know Santa came into the market last week, but the gift he came with yesterday, unfortunately, you and I missed out on that. The market was up by 2.40%, and we saw investors scramble for stocks of Airtel Africa and Boa Cement. And that pushed the all-share index up to 38,803.74 points, while we reached the 20 trillion naira mark on the equity cap. Now we saw 1.49 billion shares worth 18.74 billion naira traded in over 4,000 deals. Now, almost all the sectors we track were positive, apart from insurance, while oil and gas was unchanged. But to talk more about the market is Charles Fakruga, a stockbroker. Good morning, Mr. Fakruga. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Boa Cement was one of the drivers in the market yesterday, and that was after the company announced plans to construct 3 cement plants of 9 million metric tons per annum in Sokoto, Adamawa, and Edo states. Now, do you think that the rush for this stock will be short-lived, and what impact will that announcement have on the stocks going forward?
You know that the Nigerian investors are looking for value securities and companies that have a pedigree. So BUA has shown as one of the leaders in that sector. So that announcement made a lot of shareholders or investors to kind of position themselves and acquire more of the BUA shares. So we are going to see the rally to continue for some time because, I mean, looking at the future, that is the cement company to have shares in. Because of that capacity, they are going to drive cement price down, at the same time add value to their shareholders.
Airtel Africa was also one of the major drivers. It was up by almost 10% yesterday as well. What's going on that stock?
You know, the telecom industry is doing so well, and Airtel has shown leader in that sector also. They're looking at the transparency. You can see even when they are doing a dividend paid to people with responsibility, it is made public. So investors are looking at a company that is transparent, that is open, give full disclosure, and at the same time add value to their investors. So, and that's why we are seeing the price of Airtel Africa doing this rally. And it's going to continue for some time, pending when investors might want to take their profit.
All right, Mr. Fakruga, thank you for your input on the program. Do enjoy the rest of the day and have a wonderful holiday ahead.
Thank you very much for having me.
Charles Fakruga is a stockbroker. Now, Chimi, we had so many, company news in the market yesterday. We saw from Etana, shares, stocks were driving up. We saw gains on Monday and on Tuesday and yesterday as well. So investors are having a field day at the market this period.
Today is not going to be any different. Today is the last trading day. Tomorrow is Christmas. So I'm sure the gift investors received yesterday, they're going to receive much more today. I'm very hopeful, Eddie. Well, how do you hope to reach out to one another this Christmas? How do you hope to support other businesses, no matter how little? A little gift and a show of love can do the magic. We'll be back in a moment. All right, Christmas, they say, is a time to share and a time to give. The year 2020 brought with it a lot of challenges to businesses and individuals. A lot of people lost their jobs. Those that even have the job has so much pressure in their purses. A lot of businesses closed. And so this period is important to reach out to someone. And here on Business Morning, my team and I, and of course, our guests here, Mercy, who want to share some love with this beautiful Christmas cake here. Mercy.
We are agile women.
The agile women.
This is our
I have
we are the agile women.
The agile women. Yes, we were talking about supporting, businesses and women in particular at a period like this. By ordering this cake, someone has made a gain. Am I right?
Absolutely. Someone has made a gain, and I love the fact that we have adapted. This is agile. We have adapted. We've seen the trend. We know by supporting a woman doing business, we have helped her to boost her ROI. And in that same spirit, I, Lentor, would like to give like 4 people at least 5,000. Go on my Instagram handle. Go and tag a woman and wish her Merry Christmas and tell us why she is special.
You're taking us by surprise. That's interesting.
And why she's special, and you get a 5,000 credit in your account to go and support that woman.
I will definitely try that out.
You know what Mercy just said reminds me of what the UK Chancellor Rishi Sunak did, talking about the Eat Out to Help Out initiative to help the hospitality sector to cushion the effect of the pandemic on that sector.
I mean, when you go out there, you patronize them.
Exactly.
So, but incidentally, with this resurgence of COVID, now there's some kind of restriction, particularly for restaurants and bars. But then you can drive through, you know, to buy.
Take away.
And you can order.
You can actually sit on the comfort of your home and place your order for this.
And
so you really don't have to. Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's a time for families to bond
and for you, Eddie, you just finished talking about the stock market there. This cake, of course, is made of products from the consumer goods. We have flour, we have sugar and all that. The consumer goods sector, I mean, how is it doing at the moment? Great, I know.
It's actually doing well. Yesterday, the consumer goods sector was up. We saw gains from Dangote sugar. Hopefully, they use that sugar to make this cake. But, Chimmy, the interesting thing was, yesterday, the stocks that moved the consumer goods sector, Nigerian breweries and international breweries. So
but that stock really has been dropping. So
yes,
I guess it's because
those 2 stocks have actually dropped. So I think the Christmas season, you know, people
now people want to drink
you know,
and
just
be
like
happy.
Mr. Iwani said, you know, we're going to be home with our masks. So you're drinking at home.
And so you're not going out. You're not going anywhere. But you have to place your order somehow.
Yes, you have to. You know, so I'm just saying that you know, people that are getting ready for their parties, you know, are ordering, you know, some stocks, you know, drinks from those counters to boost their morale this season. You know, since we can't party like we usually do, you don't have the dirty December. You know? so people were just trying to make fun, you know, in a safe way that's COVID compliant. So the stocks are doing okay. Hopefully, with the season, honey flour was also up, you know, yesterday. So this season is bringing good cheer, and hopefully it will also spill into New Year.
Absolutely, and then we hope for a better 2021. And so, with love from all of us, we're going to be cutting this cake. Well, we're observing the COVID-19 protocol. Yes, so I'll probably have to do this cutting myself. However, we have to cut it.
Yes. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
You, and everybody.
Well, you can actually share from
We'll
it.
definitely help ourselves. I'm sure.
So yes, you just have to help yourself in all of this because we're observing
social distancing.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'll just so to this person that we have helped to boost your business, congratulations and Merry Christmas. Social distance protocol.
I would have actually loved to you know, feed my team. I love you girls.
Love you too.
Thank you so much. I really don't know how to thank you for all your support. And here we are, you know, celebrating this Christmas season. Eddie, I'm sorry.
No
get to
problem.
you.
That's fine. Thank you.
I mean, it's been a very challenging year. 2020
Absolutely
has
for
been
everyone.
one year that I'm sure that many would not forget in a hurry.
It's like it would never. People would just say it never happened. I was not in 2020.
Absolutely. You know, it's like okay, when you go to the calendar, forget about 2020. It never came. Let's look forward.
But for me, I would say it came, though.
Exactly, because for a woman in tech, I mean, technology has really been... Exactly. So it's just a case of different strokes for different folks. And then our heart goes out to all those who have lost people to the pandemic, who have lost their jobs, who have lost their businesses. I mean, it's really been a very difficult year. And then we hope that the new year would actually be a better one. We hope for a quick recovery. We hope that this whole pandemic issue will be a quick thing of the past.
Absolutely. And for those that are alive and healthy, you have every reason to be thankful.
Yes.
You have every reason to cheer, even in the midst of, you know, the restriction. You know, I was thinking I was going to take you girls out, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to, you know, do that.
I'm sorry to cut you, Chim. Is it Edidion's birthday? It's a
Absolutely.
Christmas day.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday to you.
Thank you.
I would have wished, why are you Edidion? Why are you not at Christmas? Or
Emanuela.
Oh, yeah, Emanuela, yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate this.
Well, I'm going to be here because I'll continue to do my business, and then some of us won't be here tomorrow. So I wish you a Merry Christmas. And so, for our viewers, wishing you a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
And that's it on the program. Thank you for watching.